What's up, Giants fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I want to talk about the Giants' Week 9 loss to the Washington Commanders. Commanders sweep the season series over Big Blue. Unfortunately, folks, before I get into the meat of this video, if you're new to the channel, this is where you can find this below on all of our social media platforms. Scrolling across our ticker, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, /X now, number 1, 2, and 3 places to find our work. This is the first time Washington has swept the Giants since 2021. I was in attendance at this game, and the vibe just felt meh. Like, it wasn't good. Like, it didn't feel like your typical Giants home game. And part is because the team is 2-7, formerly 2-6. They're on a multiple game losing streak, and there's just no fire, no passion, no energy. There's no identity to this offense right now. I mean, you had Malik Neighbors going over and talking to Jaden Daniels, his former college teammate, on the sideline during the middle of the game. It's an embarrassing look. Not to mention, too, Daniel Jones had 0 passing yards in the first half. The Giants are very one-dimensional. The run game worked, but the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So eventually, when you're constantly running the ball, that's tough when you're chasing points. You're letting, precious time tick away, and it sort of made the Giants one-dimensional in the second half, and it definitely hurt them. So the 27-22 loss, not ideal. Now, I will say in this game, sat in front of a very annoying Commanders fan, pretty much cheering for every single second of the game. Didn't let his voice rest at all. It was very annoying to sit in front of him. But look, I mean, they haven't seen their team been this good in a long time. There wasn't too much cooking for the Giants. But what I did enjoy about this game was the fact that we're starting to see the emergence of Tyrone Tracy Jr. And I really like what I see from him. 413 rushing yards on the season and 2 touchdowns, averaging 82.5 rush yards per game, 5.3 yards per carry. This week against Washington, 16 rushes, 466 yards, and the Giants actually outrushed the Commanders 164 to 149. Now, when thinking back at this game, the Giants had opportunities to win. Brian Robinson Jr. was declared out with an injury. The run defense just could not get it cooking. Austin Eckler started at running back for the Commanders. It was definitely an interesting scenario for them, but Eckler still ate. Jaden Daniels was really good off the play action. He got all the time he needed. The Giants got almost no pressure on Jaden Daniels the entire game. Defensively, it was a huge disappointment. Shane Bowen's defense has not been able to stop the run all season. That's what they brought him in to do. If you can't stop the run, you can't get an offense into 3rd and long, or you could pressure the quarterback. Now, Daniel Jones. I want to talk about DJ. His PFF grade was 91.5, but that's very deceiving. Highest graded Giant. First half, all-time stat, 4 for 4, 0 yards, and 1 touchdown pass to Chris Manhertz. Jones threw 2 touchdown passes in this game, technically 3. I thought the Wandell touchdown that was called back for OPI was absolute horseshit. Atlanta had a similar touchdown on Sunday that was not called for an OPI. So the NFL definitely has to get more consistency there with those calls. You can't have a gray area, and that's what there is right now on those pick plays. And I'll be honest, there wasn't much contact made with Darius Slayton there. And that's not the reason why the Giants lost. They got outplayed, but still, if you're the refs, you got to get that call right. Jones, 20-26, 174, 2 scores, sacked twice, lost the fumble. Also had 7 rushes for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. I will say this. Jones is tough, man. Look, he's not the future of this team. 2 to 3 years from now, I think this is his last year as a Giant, unless something miraculous happens in these last 8 games. But my gosh, that man is tough. The rushing touchdown, he had much respect. Fighting, not quitting, playing till the end of the game. Malik Neighbors did not have any catches until the second half. Ended up with 9 receptions for 59 yards on 11 targets. Rookie tight end Theo Johnson was targeted often. Connor Hughes put out a tweet saying, Theo Johnson is not really a good tight end. I disagree with that. I thought he had an awesome game, 3 catches for 51 yards and a score. Remember, he's a rookie. He's a 4th-year rookie tight end, 1st year in the NFL. Give him some time to develop. The athleticism is there. Sometimes Jones just stares down his first progression. And if that's Theo, that's tough. Not saying that's all on DJ because it's not, but give Theo time to learn and develop. Congrats to him on scoring his first NFL touchdown. And Darius Slayton, typical Slayton stat line, 3 catches, 49 yards. Fortunately, he's in concussion protocol again. And yeah, tough day for Darius Slayton and the New York Football Giants. Now I want to talk about another thing about this game. What happened to home field advantage at MetLife? You know, the old Meadowlands Stadium, Giants Stadium. Opponents feared playing there. Opponents don't fear MetLife Stadium. The Giants are 0-5 at home this season. Now, granted, the team is bad, but why do they just look dead at home? The fan base is not into it. My brother and I were out there yelling our butts off, cheering for this team, even when they were down 2 possessions late. Even when Washington had the ball inside the red zone the final 2 minutes of the game, until the game was technically over. We were cheering our butts off for defense. Giants fans invented the defense chant back in the day. This is such a historic franchise, and the 100th year of this franchise, losing twice to Washington has Wellington Mara rolling over in his grave. And it's sad. It's really sad because, John Mara wants to see better out of his team. And I'll be honest with you, you have to blame a lot on Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. Going for 2, again, down by 8 points was bad. The analytics says it's not, but 2-point conversion rates are down this year. It's close to 30%. And in my personal opinion, I would have kicked the PAT there. I know they elevated Jude Makatamne from the practice squad, but you have to trust your kicker to make an extra point if he's on an NFL roster. You can't go in there, go for 2. We saw it happen last week, and when it happened again, the whole section was looking at each other, saying, "Oh no, here we go again," and it crushed the Giants' momentum. This is back when we were down 24-16. If you kick the PAT there, you get the ball, score again. Then if you go for 2, I wouldn't care as much. I think that would make a lot more sense than going for 2 down 2 possessions, because what happens is if you don't get it, you're chasing points and you have to go for 2. You're forcing yourself to go for 2 on that last possession of the game if you come back and try to tie the football game. And you have to go for 2 just to tie at that point. You don't want to do that. You want to take the lead. And yeah, that's my personal opinion on that. MetLife was very underwhelming. All the jokes about Jones throwing his first 2 touchdown passes since 2022 there, 672 days. I could care less about that. It's just the vibe. Like, fans are fed up, and I can't say I blame them. I was there a week ago. I'm a big Notre Dame fan, as you could tell. I was there on Saturday, October 26th. Notre Dame crushed Navy. The vibe was great. I'm there, and like Notre Dame, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Notre Dame fans in the Northeast, but they're not more popular than the Giants are in the New York, New Jersey area. That vibe felt amazing. And I get it. It's college football. People are amped up. The Naval Academy was there. All due respect to them. Where is the energy at MetLife Stadium? I don't see it. It needs to improve, and it starts with play on the field. If you want to see energy improve, the play on the field needs to improve. If the Giants were like 3-6, 4-5, but they were at least playing well and like being competitive in these games early, then that would be different. But the Giants waited until the second half to start playing. They were down 21-7 at halftime. Deontay Banks gave up 2 touchdowns in this game. Really, really disappointing. Enough of me ranting about home field advantage and the Giants losing. Let's move on. Giants are off to Germany this week, and it should be interesting. The Giants take on the also 2-7 Carolina Panthers. Leading up to the game, the Giants are making moves. Nick McCloud has been released. He was claimed off waivers post-2022 preseason. Giants brought him in. He's been on the team for the last 2+ years, started 5 games this year. The reasoning for his release is they pushed him to take a pay cut. He did not want the pay cut. I can't say I blame him, especially when your team is 2-7. McCloud was on a $3 million restricted free agent tender this season. Giants release him. The move saves them $900K. Obviously, you don't want to touch the Daniel Jones contract, but you need flexibility to make moves later on in the season. McCloud, I mentioned he started 5 games this year, core special teamer the last several years, and now your corner room is looking like this. Tay Banks, Dory Jackson, Cordell Flott, Drew Phillips, and Trey Hawkins, with Greg Stroman and Art Green sitting on the practice squad. That is the corner room. Banks has really been underwhelming this year, and I am going to say this right now. Outside of Drew Phillips, this corner room is horrendous. As much as people want to replace Daniel Jones at the quarterback position, I would rather have Jones as the starter next year and have a bona fide number 1 rookie corner, a guy that you could draft in the top 5, top 10, like a Ben Morrison Jr. or why did his name just blank? Will Johnson out of Michigan. If the Giants are this bad, the corner room has to improve. I'm sick and tired of giving up these big plays, and Jones was not the reason why we lost on Sunday. Yeah, it's time to move on, but you don't have to replace a quarterback with the first overall or the first round pick in the next year's draft. You have to look at it 2022, right? We saw that quarterback class come out. How many of those guys are still starting and doing well? None, except for Brock Purdy, who was drafted in the 7th round. How about 2023? Outside of C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young got benched. Anthony Richardson got benched. Will Levis has been atrocious. No disrespect there, but 3 of those 4 were misses. Richardson, maybe you say the jury's still out on him. Bryce Young, Carolina failed him, whatever. There's only 1 hit 2 years in, almost 2 years in for that 2023 class. So, and then in 2024, this rookie class, you're looking at Jaden Daniels, hit so far, right? Caleb Williams, Drake May, trending up, a lot of turnovers, but he's a project. JJ McCarthy's hurt. You can't judge. Bo Nix has looked solid. 2024 class has been much better than the last 2 seasons, but you can't guarantee, is what I'm saying, in 2025 that a quarterback is going to be there. So that's my thinking there. The Giants should not just get a quarterback to get a quarterback. You want to get the right quarterback. Unfortunately, for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, the time is ticking for them. Their seats are beginning to get a little bit warm. I don't think they'll get fired at the end of the season, but if you lose to the Carolina Panthers, those talks will certainly heat up. So, takeaways from week 9, positions of need, man, because the season's done. We know that, but off season, cornerback, corner up there, tied for number 1. I would lean corner because I'm a defensive guy. I like to have an awesome defense, and I'd be perfectly okay if the Giants went with Tommy DeVito as a starter once the Giants are out of playoff contention. But yeah, that's my rant about attending my one and only Giants game of the season. Only the 2nd loss I've ever seen in person. Hopefully better days ahead, and these guys figure it out down the stretch of the season to at least have a decent ending. Folks, if you like what you watch, make sure to check us out on all of our social media, on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Big Blue Avenue. I appreciate you all watching. Without further ado, let's go Big Blue.